And on the weather forecast today, it is snowing and snow. Part of the reason why we are not gaming today is because of the lighting in this space. There's only so much I can do. For some reason, I am in all sorts of shadow from this camera. But I guess it's better than, is it this one? This one's the one I'm in shadow from. And it's because of how bright it is outside. It snowed last night. I do apologize for being late. I needed to redo the stream setup to work with the light. The backlight would have been just too much for gaming today. So we're gonna work on some Christmas projects. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Jolene. This is the Cottagecore Land Girl, and I am here 2 days a week to do some fun, heavy things with you. I do sewing, and I also do some cozy gaming. The games that are currently in rotation are Infinity Nikki and Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I also give life updates while on stream, some pertaining to the fact that I've been actively searching for work since Joann's closed in May. Sometimes I'll give a little bit of like updates, little show and tell if I'm able to travel anywhere with my family or my partner. But for the most part, we just have a cozy, chill time here, taking a bit of a break from doom scrolling. So that's what goes on. My drink of today is a tea-infused milk. The tea that I used is a Riddle's Tea Shop tea that I have had for so long, actually. I have some things in my tea stash that I have had for going on... Oh my gosh. Because some of these teas I would have gotten in like college and like prior to 2019. That's crazy. I've had some teas for like 8 years. Oh Lord. I'm not entirely sure when I got this one, but it is their which one was it? Cauldron Cakes, that's the one. Riddle's Tea Shop is a tea company that I originally found on Etsy when I was a Harry Potter fan. That they did fandom teas, but they specialized in teas inspired by the Harry Potter universe. Since J.K. Rowling's crazy turn, or at least her, letting everyone in on her crazy, which, thank you for that, because it tells me that that's something I no longer want in my life. So thank you for informing me of your crazy. I can decide if your crazy is something for me, and your crazy is no longer something that I can align with. But I do have some fond memories of, the things before the crazy. And Riddle's Tea Shop has, at least from my witnessing, has shifted a lot of their creations away from strictly Harry Potter fandom teas to just fandom teas in general. They did a whole series of Ghibli themed tea boxes, which was also so enjoyable. They do some seasonal themed teas. One of my favorites is their Animal Crossing Perfect Peach tea. I love that tea so much. So yeah, I every time I get a chance to shout out Riddle's Tea Shop, I will. I just thought that the Cauldron Cakes tea would fit really well infused in milk, and I was right. It did. It is so tasty. The milk I used is I combined an almond milk and a coconut milk. The coconut milk I had gotten at Aldi. Oat milk. Sorry, not coconut milk. Oat milk. Yeah. So, plans of gifts we're going to work on tackling today. I have a wrist rest cushion that I had started working on last stream before the stream cut out, which I will... I'm sorry. A box toppled over. Anyway, I have this wrist rest that I am going to be working on today. Hopefully we can get it finished. I do need to do some hand sewing on this part so that it gets smooth, and then I need to figure out the binding situation because I do want to bind the edges. So we're gonna look at what options I have for binding. Let's see what else. Yeah, this is really dark. If I bring this down and put this over. Okay. All right, that helps a little. Okay. Yeah. I just can't look at the pretty snow anymore. That's fine. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. We try and keep this as organized and fun as possible. So, gonna be working on this. I do have some pieces for the shirt that I'm making my brother cut out that I could also work on sewing together. And then finally, I have a bead, a couple bead associated gifts that I need to make as well. So we've got a lot of things on the ticket to do today, or at least, start working through. I am working on making out a list of all of the projects to try and organize myself. So we could take a break and work on that list. I'm also working on making my own cookbook for myself. Not one that I'm going to publish because I'm definitely stealing other people's recipes, because I'm just putting together a cookbook for myself of recipes that I like. Yeah, I experimented for a couple friend holiday associated events that I have going on for the next month. We've got a game night and a Friendsgiving, and I had some projects that I needed to get done for those. Experimenting on some cooking, and then I also have like my family's Thanksgiving that I also need to do some baking for. What's really great about baking, something that I really enjoy, is the hello Teru. Hello, welcome in. Something I really enjoy about baking is the fact that it's edible science. It's science you can eat. It's like a science experiment that like you get to devour afterwards, because like, what do you mean I mix a binder with another agent and suddenly I get something fluffy and gooey and yummy? What do you mean? These are gonna get in the way, I fear. So we're not doing games today, Teru. I will recap for you. I hope you're doing well, by the way. I hope you are doing well. But we're not doing games today because it snowed, so the brightness from like the backlighting from the windows where I would normally be playing games is even more intense because the light is also bouncing off the snow. And there's very little I can do to counteract that. So, yeah. We're working on the Christmas presents, which, let's be real, I need to work on anyway. Seeing muffins rise up makes me feel like a proud dad with a growing kid. Yes. So anyway, I am working on putting together a physical recipe book of some of the recipes that I enjoy making. That way I have, something physical. I will never be publishing it because I am definitely stealing other people's recipes. I am not coming up with anything myself. But it is for my reference. That way I'm not having to Google recipes all the time. One could think of it as me making my own little grimoire, my own little book of potions and magic, because what do you mean cooking's not magic? Cooking is magic. It's science magic. Science magic. It's science. It's science you can eat. And I am, I'm very, the cookies that I'm making for the holiday themed things, basically the recipe that I found makes 5 dozen cookies, or at least that's what it says it's supposed to. My bangs are not wanting to cooperate with me today. Forgive me. Oh, this is annoying. Because they're both in my eyes and not. Okay. This is fine. We'll just deal with this. Anyway, so yeah, muffins. Or not no. You said muffins. I'm saying cookies. Hello. Okay, I love and on my iPad I can't read your whole comments because of that silly little heart. They're actual magic items, IRL, like magical rocks, magical aura. I am not unbelieving of that. When it comes to, anyway, these cookies, they are, it's a batch of, it makes, like, the recipe, it makes 5 batches of cookies, which is a lot of cookies. It's a lot of cookies. So what I did, and I'm really grateful actually for this recipe being so overkill, on the amount of cookies, is that it is the perfect amount for pre-making the dough, having the dough all made up, and then having the dough all made up, and then having the dough frozen so that I can just pop them in the oven, so I have like fresh baked cookies for all, like, for those different events. So one's a game night, the other's a Friendsgiving. They are hot chocolate themed, so they're hot chocolate cookies, and I'm combining a couple different recipes that I saw online. I'm not a big fan of her, in that I also don't know enough about her to hate her. I just know that I'm not a big fan. I have no feelings whatsoever because I don't know enough about her to have feelings. One of them is the Pioneer Woman's cookie recipe for hot chocolate cookies. Another is from a tasty foods website, a blog. I tried to go with as old of a recipe online as I could find for the cookies because I am tired of finding recipes that I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and then reading it, I'm like, I know how to cook. And this recipe makes no sense because the recipe itself was written by AI. And so I have a hard time with trusting recipes that were written prior to 2020 or after 2020. I trust things that are written prior to 2020. So I try and get as close to 2020, if not before, with recipes because some recipes were hit or miss and bad back then. But at least I know it was written by someone else's trial and error, Christmas cookies with snow outside is such a mood. It is such a mood. Part of the reason why I am a little late starting stream is because I had to switch the setup, but also because I needed to. I wasn't expecting it to snow. I really was not, at least as much as we had, because I thought that I'd be able to cover up my strawberries today, after stream. But then I woke up and it's like, oh, there is a lot more snow on the ground than I thought we were gonna get, if we were gonna get any. So I had to kind of so how I cover my strawberries, because I don't want to spend money on straw or hay when I don't have to, is I wait until all of the leaves in my front yard fall off the trees, or mostly fall off the trees, which they hadn't yet. But I wait until I have enough in my front yard that I can rake the leaves like off the driveway and like the area around where my strawberries are planted, and I can like cover the strawberries with leaves for the winter, and then the leaves, as they decompose, act as like fertilizer for the strawberries, which helps them grow. My strawberries have been very, very happy over the last few years, so I am doing something right. I'm not doing it perfect, but I'm doing something right. So I had to be like, okay, let's get all the snowy leaves off the driveway and let's like cover the strawberries as much as we can now. And hopefully the snow like doesn't stick, because the ground should not be frozen yet. Because this is our first real like really good cold snap. So hopefully the snow will melt and I'll be able to get the rest of the leaves so that it's all covered, so that they're protected for winter. But your hat is so cute. Thank you. Yes, I am wearing a turtleneck dress underneath my Kiki's Delivery Service dress, and my hat has little mushroom buttons on it. Beads. They're not buttons, they're beads. Mushroom beads. Recipes written by AI are like the worst thing that ever hit humanity. Sounds like nice. Yeah, so here's hoping, because I have one strawberry plant that is different than the other strawberry plants. It was a gift from my coworker, who is a part of my former coworker, who is a part of one of the local garden clubs. She gave me some white strawberries, and or like at some point in the summer, and they have not grown enough so I could get any strawberries from them, which is absolutely fine, because most of my strawberry plants, it takes them it takes them a bit to like, one, get settled after transplanting, and two, like I don't usually expect when I plant new strawberry plants to get any like good fruit from it for like a year or two if I transplant a new plant. So I'm just hoping that I haven't killed that variety, because I want that to expand and to do well, so that I can get some fun strawberries from it. But sounds like a nice idea for strawberries. Thank you. They seem to like it, and it's helped keep some of the pests away, because I like in the spring I'll let my strawberries just grow up through the leaves. So like in the spring, like between the sun and the rain, the strawberries just they work their way up through the leaves, and then getting up through the leaves, and then the leaves have in some ways like dried out a little bit, but I'm getting into trail mix fever. Fruits and nuts are so good together. Okay. Absolutely agree. Big trail mix fan. Most of my, like a lot of my childhood road trip memories, because like America is the land of the road trip. Specifically after I want to say it was a mix, specifically after World War I, but it kind of started in with the introduction of a lot of our national park systems, and in the 1930s with the trying to recover from the Great Depression and trying to encourage regional tourism, the road trip was really, really pushed. So it is something that a lot of people still do, but not as much as before. So trail mix is like road trip food because it is healthy and it is filling, and it'll stop you from having like wanting to go to every single McDonald's you see on the road, because McDonald's are everywhere. It does feel like autumn. Yes. Yeah, I would agree absolutely with trail mix feeling like autumn. What kind of fruits would you add, or do you just buy a pre-made trail mix? Because there are two schools of there are two schools of thought when it comes to the trail mix making, and it's either you make it yourself or you buy it. That is a joke. There is not two schools of thought on that. That is just me being silly right now. I don't think either one is wrong, because like you can be in a pinch and need trail mix fast, or you can be kind of economical and like just really specific about what you want. So, or have a nut allergy and want to avoid a specific type of nut or fruit. Because like what? Standards to add are obviously like raisins or craisins, which are dried cranberries. Cranberries and different kinds of raisins for me. Okay. Cool. Yeah, craisins. So cranberries. Dried blueberries. Would you include dried blueberries in that different kind of raisin category? Because dried blueberries do have like a similar texture to raisins, but I like maybe it's just because blueberries are my favorite berry, arguably my favorite fruit, that I'm like, dried blueberries are superior. They're also often more expensive, but no, they're really good. Dried blueberries, I think. Give me a second. I will find a bag. I have a bag here somewhere. I lied. I don't have a bag. I've got a jar. So the reason I have a big jar, the reason I have a big jar is because you can get massive bags here at Costco of dried blueberries, and we had gotten one of those bags, and this is what's left. You can also get smaller bags at Aldi. It's a North American thing. We have much more grapes and raspberries. Ooh, dried raspberries would be good too. But this is the size of the dried blueberry. And they're just tiny. And they're kind of sweet with a little bit of tart, because blueberries are often tart. And then I also have what's left of my dried strawberries from Aldi. Last time I bought dried strawberries. I love dried fruit. But yeah, no, yeah, I can agree with yeah, definitely much more of a North American thing, the dried blueberry. Also, what about banana chips? Like dehydrated banana chips. How do you feel about those? Because my hypothesis is you either black currants I think so, but I think they go by a different currents. Come on. But they are not really popular. As far as like they are native to North America, but generally I do not see them often in stores. I mean, like there's we find like black currant like jams and stuff. But they're not often in stores. I think some people do have them in like their gardens and stuff, but for the most part you end up finding it in like jam. Apple chips are great. Yeah, just don't mess up the ratio. Exactly. Oh, dried apples? Yes, dried apples. Yes. And then are you the kind of person that that adds like something like not fruit related that's sweet, or do you strictly stick to the fruit and nuts? Because like you could add like I know some people add like peanut butter filled little pretzels here in their homemade trail mix, or they'll add like chocolate chips, or like M&Ms, or like Reese's Pieces, that kind of. I think I've never had huckleberry. I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember what a huckleberry looks like. Is it even real? I mean, I've never had one either. Not to my. Maybe I have. Because sometimes when you're like out hiking, if you're like, or like when I was a kid with my dad, depending on where we were, my dad is able to recognize like some edible flora and fauna. We've got I think I have an do we have a white elderberry tree in our yard? I try not to add M&Ms. Some people add oats. And that too. Makes it too addictive. Okay. Okay. Chocolate chips it is. I personally like a pretzel added in for a pretzel, or like a bagel bite. Ooh, like those like bagel chips. Pumpernickel, or like the rye like the rye chip thing. Those are good. Now I'm like getting really hungry. This is actually this started with me talking about cookies. So yeah, for the chocolate chip cookies, I had to combine a number of different recipes. So I actually have 2 recipes in my cookbook so far that I wrote down from my experiments this week. My recipe book, not cookbook, but bagel chip. I'm gonna mute the mic so you don't have to hear the crunching sound. Sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. Yes, it's really, really good. Especially if they're like if you've roasted them yourselves and you've been able to add your own seasonings. And that's one thing that I really liked about when I was a kid, and we had a garden and we'd get like some squashes and pumpkins, and they'd have like really big seeds. My mom would after canning or freezing, how did we preserve those for the winter? Anyway, after preparing the squashes so that we'd be able to use them in the winter, or like make a pie or something out of them, she would take the seeds and she would roast them with like garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of like some paprika, and they were just and some salt. So good. One of my favorite like flavor roasted cashews is actually I think it was one of the summer flavors that they had at Aldi here in America. I'm not sure if they've have it at Aldi like elsewhere, but they pickle seasoned cashews. So good. I don't even remember. Anyway, oh yeah, so for the hot chocolate cookies, I was combining the 2 actual cookie recipes, but because my mother has and if I wanted my mom to be able to eat them, my mom has celiac, so I had to find a hot chocolate, because I need a hot chocolate mix for the cookies, because part of the ingredients is hot chocolate mix. I had to find a hot chocolate mix that was both vegan and gluten-free, and I could not find one at the store, which meant I got to make it. So one of the things that it called for in like the recipe to make it vegan was dried coconut milk, which again I could not find in a store, one of the stores like local to me, and I was not about to go on a wild goose chase around the entirety of Chicago trying to find it in person. I also was not going to wait to order to ship it because I needed to make these cookies on Friday. So we foregone. We just ignored the request for dried coconut milk in the hot chocolate recipe, and it was basically, it's 1 part cocoa to 2 parts sugar, like granulated sugar, and then you mix it. The other thing I forgot to get was dried or like vanilla powder. That was the other thing that I needed. But yeah, here we are. Sorry, my iPad just connected to a headset, and I am fairly certain my headphones aren't on. So weird. Let me get the chat back. Ooh, adding cardamom? Yes. Yes. Yeah, Aldi's great. Aldi is... yeah, just a little bit of cinnamon. You don't want to go too hard on any of, like, at least for me, you don't want to go too hard on the cinnamon, the nutmeg, or the cardamom. Otherwise, like, it can get, like, a little bit overpowering if you don't have, like, the right ratio of everything. Like, the first time I made the dessert that I'm planning on making for my family's Thanksgiving, which is a pumpkin cake pumpkin cupcakes instead of a pumpkin pie, because I think someone else is making pumpkin pie, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna make the pumpkin cupcakes. The first time I made it, I added too much nutmeg, and it was the nutmeg combining with like the baking, I think it was either the baking soda or the baking powder, most likely the baking powder. It just ended up tasting a little just too bitter. Wasn't great. Bit too overpowering. Okay. Oh no, I have to cut it. Ah! I need to figure out what thing I'm using for the binding. Okay. Oh, stop that. Okay. Oh, Palemo. Huh. Is that like a... Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It's like a grapefruit. I was like, am I thinking of the right thing? I was like, yeah. I think I'm just gonna use this binding. Hopefully it's enough. Which I think means I'm gonna need to cut this down a bit more. Yeah, that is fine. I think it's wild that there are so many fruits in the world. And the fact that like there are fruits that are like depending on the region that you live in, like there are similar fruits in other regions of the world, but they're never like fully identical, you know? Like it's so fascinating. And then there are some fruit that like they're only like there's no other fruit like them anywhere else in the world. Okay, that needs to be still cut down more. That is. know, and it's like amazing, like there are so many different like ways that fruits can be used. So last night we had some jackfruit pasta. I think it was jackfruit. No, heart of palm. It was heart of palm. Because like we have some other stuff in the house that is jackfruit related, but this is the heart of palm pasta, like noodles with like pasta sauce. And that was really, really good. And for a pretty easy and pretty easy and filling gluten-free pasta night, it was perfect. As a biologist, the opportunities for genetic modification are amazing too. You can have all kinds of stuff, add extra vitamins, and make them taste better. Exactly like cotton candy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Oh, dried kiwis. Dried kiwis are good. Kiwis in general, I think, are good. Although I'm not always in the mood for kiwi. Something about the texture. right. Got that all pinned. And I still have a good amount of the bias tape left. Sweet. I don't think I have enough to do another one. Oh, maybe I do. Sweet. Are you potentially like allergic to kiwis? Dried pineapple is another good one. I'm back on trail mix fruits and vegetables. Back on the trail mix. Okay. Okay. I think because of how close I have to get to the bulk and how frustrating that's going to be in my sewing machine, I think I'm just going to sew this by hand. So I'm going to take a break from stabbing my fingers. We'll come back to that. Gonna be making okay. Is tart the same thing as sour? No. I mean, yes, but no. Yes? No, because like if milk is sour, that doesn't mean the milk is tart. Yeah, because like, okay. I love Reddit. r/cooking for beginners. Is tart just a fancy word for sour? First response, or like the highest upvoted response. Yes and no. Tart generally has positive connotations, while sour may have negative connotations, i.e. the milk's gone sour. That was the example that I just used. A tart flavor is normally lighter and sweeter than a sour flavor. It's important to note that we only taste a few things: sweet, salty, bitter, umami, and sour. Sourness is essentially a balanced food, and we talk about adding acid to lower the pH of the food. Tart food is then food that has pH just below 7, and then sour would be anything from 3 to 5 pH. You also have have connotations associated with both, and some blending, both purely on denotations. This is a baseline starting point. Okay. So, yes and no. Thank you for asking. That was a very intriguing. I did not go to school for cooking. I just, I went to school and then discovered, I went to college and discovered I was a stress baker. I bake when I'm stressed. And then just for fun too. Needing to, reassociate, the act, like, I think the baking being a thing that I did to relieve stress in high school and college, definitely shaped some of how I have my associations with food, mental associations with food, yeah. Or the act of making food. Okay, so for one of the Christmas gifts that I'm making, I am making, this is a gift, these are things I was actually asked to make. Which I really should be keeping a timer for. Timer. Are aprons for some children, and one of the girls has a very specific color scheme. She likes pink, purple, and yellow. So when I was in Japan, I picked up some fabric for that project. There was one of the stores that we went to in Nippori when on the day that Tomato was closed, where they had a ton of like basically like little these little rolls. Like, they were rolls, but like these little pieces of fabric. And I got a bunch of them. Some I had gotten for my mom to play with. Some I picked up for my cousins who also sew. One of my cousins makes clothing for like Blythe dolls and American Girl dolls, which are like 18-inch dolls. And so I had gotten her some fabric for that, which I will be giving her when I see her at Thanksgiving. And then yeah, this stuff what I'm going to do for the pocket on the apron, to incorporate all of the different colors that she wanted, is make a patchwork pocket, a patchwork pattern, yeah, for the pocket. So that is what I'm working on right now. I'm going to create the patchwork material that I will then use to cut out the pocket pattern pieces. Yes. Which is fun. I love making patchwork clothing. And getting to experiment with some like fun colors and prints that I normally would not. Actually, that's a lie. There's a chance I would combine everything this way. So I've got 2 different size gingham prints. I've got the pink gingham, which is really, really tiny. I've got the big gingham. And then I have a solid pink. And then I have a larger pink gingham, which will be the main body of the apron, with this being then the lining. So I feel like I need more yellow. I think there's just, and purple. There's just too much pink, so. Do I have any solid purples? answer is nope. Not there, at least. Yeah. I need to unthreaded. How frustrating. The great news is, because I am not a quilter, and I do not, I'm not so much worried about this being like perfect. I'm more concerned about it being fun. And what we're aiming for is fun. So that is what we're trying to work towards. So I think my next step is going to be continuing to add like different directions of the patterns. And piecing things together until I think it's fun, you know? That's why are you being this way? There we go. Okay. Because this is a gift for a child, and I'm wanting it to be, ow, that hurt. Hot. Irons are hot, just fair warning. I'm wanting it to be fun. So we're going to we're just gonna have fun with it. Okay. I had some tiny little scissors. Where did my tiny scissors go? Well, I've misplaced them. How inconvenient. I have another pair. I prefer the purple handled ones though. Okay, so this is what's going to be, this material is what the pocket is going to be made out of. So the pocket on the apron that I'm making is like a kangaroo pocket. So this is the going to be the outside. I can figure out placements. I might end up doing some more cutting and piecing depending on once I get the pattern piece printed out. So, but yeah, the request was pink, yellow, and purple. And I think we've got a pretty good layout of pink, yellow, and purple. That's like really cute and very fun. I think it's really fun. I think it's cute. Because I think theoretically I could cut this in half and then piece those pieces together that way too, but we'll see. Okay, so I can stop that, and we will set this to the side. I'm gonna be honest with you. One of the things that I need to work on, I have to get down from the top shelf, and it's really heavy, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to lift that stuff down. So I think we might just ask for help, perhaps. No, I don't need to be doing it right now. I can wait. I think we might move back to hand sewing. Rotate through the projects. I had thread and a needle. This is fine. No. Okay. So So I'm sewing. There's still snow outside, which means the ground is colder than I thought it was, or the sun just hasn't hit it yet. I heard tell that this winter is going to be a very cold one here in North America. But considering that we don't have a lot of our meteorologists anymore, who knows? Who very well knows at this point. Still a good chance it'll be cold. Really cold. Okay. I'm gonna move my iPad so that I can see the chat better. And I'm gonna sit over here. Yes. I will adjust this camera. You get to see some of my messy floor. That's not gonna work. There we are. Yes. Okay. So, honey, with this over. Okay. Unplug the iron and move that out of the way. The light so I can see better. Does this setup work? Can I say I can see chat? Yes. Okay, perfect. I had a thought that occurred to me while I was doing the patchwork,